listening to the Next Best Picture podcast. I'm Giovanni Lago, and I'm joined by the star Flaming Hot, Jesse Garcia. Jesse, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I just gotta ask, because the film itself, it's really good. I really enjoyed it, and it's like an American success story that we don't really get to see, and or even think of. Like, I don't know if you're just randomly driving around thinking, I wonder how the process was for the person who created Flaming Hot Cheeto or any other chip. I was just wondering, were you familiar with Richard Montañez's story before being attached to the project?
I was, and I'd heard of his story. I think I'd read it in the trades or something like that a few years prior. But I didn't, I always thought it would make a cool movie or series or something, and whoever would get to play the part would be pretty lucky. But then when I read the script, I was like, oh, this was written for me. So I gotta do my work and let these guys catch up and cast me.
Yeah, no, you are great, and you're very energetic and so charismatic. And I was wondering, working with Eva Longoria, and she is also an actress, and this is her first time as a director for a feature film. Was it helpful, that her history of acting was able to bring the best out of you? Was there something that you think you needed on set to like get out, and she helped bring it out of you?
Yeah, I think her and I had a deep trust of each other. And that's important, especially a big movie like this. There's a lot of relationship stuff. There's a lot of moving parts. I trusted her, that she would take care of me. She trusted me that I would take care of her and that I would take care of the part. And I would be ready to work every day. She was hyper prepared. She's a visionary. We all had something to prove on this set. So it was I think her being an actor too, we were able to talk to each other and understand without having to over explain things. She would just say like this and this, and I'm like, oh, got it, let's try that.
Yeah, no. And I was talking to Annie Gonzalez earlier, and we were both raving about, your voiceovers, when Tony Shalhoub's on screen or else in the boardroom through your perspective. And I was wondering how much of that was already just in the script. Did you talk to Eva a lot about like improving some of those jokes?
It was written. That was an idea I think that Linda Chavez had. But Fabian Alomar, who is one of the other characters in the movie, well, when we were recording temporary tracks for those scenes for the boardroom members to say, we had him come over while I was in the room. Like, so we had set up a small little studio in my house that I was staying in, and Fabian we would go back and forth and try to figure out how to make each character distinctly different, right? So he would help us with like, maybe say this here and maybe use this slang here for a different character. And so we went back and forth and we figured a bunch of that out. So we had the blueprint of what was the boardroom scenes, but then Fabian did help us out a lot.
No, it was great. There's a real authenticity to every location you film at. This is just a random question because I just love the behind the scenes process. The Frito-Lay's factory you guys worked at, is that the real factory in California? Was that a set built for the film or?
No, we shot in Albuquerque, and that was
Oh, really?
the Albuquerque Journal. So that used to be the old, I don't know what they're called, where they printed the newspapers.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
they constructed all of that, like the art department and the construction teams built 90% of that. Some of the tracks they might have had already, but they built like
Hmm.
all the tumblers, all of like the tracks where Cheetos were coming through. They built all of that.
Wow, that's so impressive because I was just the whole time I was just watching. I was like, "Is this a real factory?" I was like, "This had to
Yeah,
be like on location." So just
yeah,
shout out to everyone in the
yeah.
production department. Um, Another thing we mentioned earlier how energetic your portrayal of Richard is, but there's also moments, of levity, especially when it comes to scenes with your father and the tensions rise there. What was it like, getting the mindset of balancing, okay, I want to be funny and I want to, be the charismatic character that everyone loves, but at a certain point here, I have to dial it to get in more serious territory. And how concerned you were that you were selling on one side, but you're like, I just wanted the balance to be perfect.
I mean, I wasn't really too worried about any of that stuff. I go off based on scenes and based on where what the relationship is, and um, as far as this like stuff with the father, like it was all of the tone that we had with each other is based on our relationship. So I wasn't worried about balancing the humor and the drama. Like each one was played for honesty.
Yes, you can really tell off screen. And I just want to know also, fun question. I asked everyone else, I asked Dennis and Annie, spicy food, spicy chips, it's flaming hot. Are you a fan of flaming hot? Is that not your preference? Are you a Takis guy? Like where you pick?
I choose my spices on like burgers and meat and stuff like that. So like I'm more of put my spice and my sweet on my main course as opposed to snacks.
Oh, okay. I see. You're not really that. I get it. I know. I prefer, when it comes to like dinners, I'm making. I'm also very curious. What was it like working with the kids on set? Because they are so funny and
Yeah.
they are just so great. Like every one of them just bring it every scene they're in.
Yeah, they were all great. The baby threw a fit, kind of a diva, would just be crying. She like felt like I feel like I'm gonna cry in this scene. And we're like, no, you probably shouldn't cry in this scene. And the baby's like, nah, I'm gonna cry in this scene. So like, we had to deal with the crying baby. And as soon as we call cut, the baby would be laughing. It's like, um, uh, but the kids are great. The kids are great. Bryce is great. Hunter is great. Carlos is great. They all brought it. Every one of them was ready to play.
Was there something you learned working on this project that you weren't expecting, that you learned about yourself, or especially, telling such a success story for Latino people? We don't really get to see these stories on screen, let alone even hear about them. I was just wondering, what does it mean to you, and what was the biggest takeaway you got from that?
Um, you know, I think beyond so here's what I think. I think that we have the ability to tell stories in a way that it transcends cultural lines, right? This is a Mexican American family, but it also everyone relates to it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's been an underdog. Everyone's been, you know, most people have been broke at some point. Even like even through different levels of success throughout the years, I've been broke. I've been couch surfing. I've been, just trying to figure out different ways of making money so that I can continue acting. It's like it's the perseverance that everyone can relate to. That just keep plugging away, and also, a strong support system goes a long way.
I totally agree. And what if you can tell us, what are you working on next? Do you have anything cooking up in the pipeline? Because you're so great. I think everyone after seeing this film is like, I definitely want to see more of
Thank
what
you.
you can bring.
Eva and I just finished a movie. We just finished a Disney movie
Oh,
called Alexander and a Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So it's like a different version of that book.
okay.
Disney did that back in 2013, I think, and I was in that one too.
Mhm.
I was kind of had a smaller part in that movie, so we found a funny way to merge the timelines of like these two characters that I play, or one character. But other than that, I'm developing stuff. I'm looking for something to direct. I'm trying to
Okay.
get my own projects going.
All right. That sounds great. I think I can speak for everyone that we enjoyed the film and we're very excited to see what you do. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time, Jesse. This has been a pleasure, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, brother. You too.